So, to continue our coverage over Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers, we actually pick up with Avengers number 35. Now, with that being said, this book picks up 8 months later after the ending of our last Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers storyline. And so with that being said, we actually pick up with Ex Nihilo. Now, Ex Nihilo was made by the Builders, and matter of fact, him and his brothers and sisters, the Nihilis, are going around the universe trying to save different suns and planets that are blowing up across the universe. Now, remember, Ex Nihilo first appeared in Johnathan Hickman's first Avengers story, and basically Ex Nihilo was made by a bunch of characters known as the Builders. Now, the Builders were a set of characters who used to praise Captain Universe as a god, but then they broke away from Captain Universe to make the universe in their image, and so they made Ex Nihilo and all his brothers and sisters to help them recreate the universe in their image. Now, Ex Nihilo and his brothers and sisters have moved away from the Builders when we covered the Infinity event. Now, with that being said, right now they're going around the universe trying to save different suns that are blowing up and trying to figure out why are these suns blowing up across the universe. And that is the moment you have Abyss, which is another creation of the Builders, tell Ex Nihilo and his brothers and sisters, listen, something is happening on Earth. Earth is the main thing, the main reason why all these different suns are blowing up. And so now you have Ex Nihilo and all his brothers and sisters heading back over to Earth, because Earth is the main reason why the suns are blowing up. And this is Johnathan Hickman telling us they have no idea that the multiverse is dying, but they're learning about it now, or they're going to learn about it now. But then we jump over to Manifold and Sunspot. Now, Manifold is a character we have been seeing throughout our whole run of Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers. And matter of fact, Manifold has the ability to teleport almost anywhere in the universe. Now, with that being said, we also pick up with Sunspot, who's with Manifold. Now, Sunspot is an old X-Men character that actually first appeared back in the 1980s, and he was part of the team known as New Mutants. Now, with that being said, ever since that book first came out, he has grown up. But we do see Manifold and Sunspot arrive at the home of Cannonball, another old X-Men character that actually used to be a team member of Sunspot's team, the New Mutants. Now, with that being said, the reason why Sunspot and Manifold came to Cannonball is because Sunspot wants Cannonball and his wife to come back to Earth. Because right now, Manifold and Sunspot, they had teleported to Cannonball's home, but Cannonball's home is at the Shi'ar Empire, a galactic empire, of course, in space. Now, with that being said, Cannonball did marry one of the Imperial Guards of the Shi'ar Empire, which is Smasher, and they had a baby, because remember, this is 8 months later. But either way, the reason why Sunspot is asking Cannonball and Smasher to come back to Earth is because something big is happening on Earth. Now, we know what it is. It is that the fact the multiverse is dying. But this is Sunspot also telling Cannonball, hey, by the way, I also bought Advanced Idea Mechanics, better known as AIM. And you have Cannonball kind of like, why did you buy an evil organization, especially AIM? And you have Sunspot say, because big things are happening right now on Earth. We need you to come back to Earth to help me save Earth and possibly the universe. But then we pick up with Starbrand and Nightmask. Now remember, these two characters were very important in the early days of Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers, especially when it came to the Builders, Ex Nihilo, and the Alice, the robots that were made by the Builders. But the reason why we pick up with these two characters is because right now, they're fighting against an Aleph. Now they are able to actually stop it and get rid of it. But then the big question is though, where did this Aleph come from? Because the Builders are no longer around in this universe. And so now the big question is, where did this Aleph come from? And that is the moment you have Nightmask and Starbrand realize that this Aleph is from a different universe. Now here comes the big problem though. The big question is, why did this Aleph from a different universe arrive in this universe? Especially when Nightmask realized that this Aleph was hiding out in the Dead Zone. The Dead Zone is known right now as the space between the universes. So for example, if you have two universes, between those two, you have the Dead Zone, the Bleed, and the Aleph was hiding there. But for some reason, he fell through the main Marvel universe. And so now you have Nightmask and Starbrand get the message from Sunspot asking them to come back to Earth because he knows now that the multiverse is dying. Now, we do pick up with Hyperion. Now, Hyperion is from an alternate universe that was wiped out thanks to an incursion. Now, with that being said, he was luckily saved by Advanced Idea Mechanics, who brought him over to the main Marvel universe. Now, Hyperion is right now in the Savage Land, and he is working with the Children of the Sun. Now, the Children of the Sun are Ex Nihilo creations. When Ex Nihilo was on Mars, he had a goal to revamp the Earth. And so he sent down 6 or 7 genetic bombs to kind of help revamp the Earth. One of those bombs landed in the Savage Land, which made the Children of the Sun. Now these kids, they don't need no food, no sleep, nor water. They can stay alive just because of how their body works. Now with that being said, they do age at a very fast rate. And so with that, they have grown up and have become very smart. And right now they are working with Advanced Idea Mechanics, which is now being owned by Sunspot. But they're trying to figure out how the multiverse is dying. How can they save their Earth from the next incursions? And what in the world is going on with the two Avengers teams? Now, with that being said, though, you do have Hyperion ask the Children of the Sun, where is Thor? Because Thor is also in the Savage Land, but apparently he kind of distanced himself from everyone. And the reason why, because Thor had lost his hammer. He is no longer worthy to pick up the hammer. Of course, at this point, we have Jane Foster Thor. But either way, though, this is a Thor who had basically changed. If you read Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers, Thor was very relaxed. Happy. He was always happy to go into battle with Hyperion and happy to be around his friends. But this is a Thor who feels like a failure because he's no longer worthy. And so right now, he's more serious. And with their next mission coming up, is Thor kind of like, we might not come back. We might die out there. Now, we have no idea what this mission is, but apparently to Thor, it's like, hey, you know, whatever happens, it happens. But then we pick up with S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, of course, at this point in Marvel Comics, S.H.I.E.L.D. is being run by Steve Rogers' Captain America. But right now, we actually see Maria Hill in charge of this next mission. And the reason why, because right now, something is happening at a certain S.H.I.E.L.D. station, a S.H.I.E.L.D. location. And of course, we pick up with, and I know I am going to butcher his name, Amanda's Child. And I really always mess his name up, so please forgive me. Now, when it comes to Amanda's Child, he is really one of the smartest people in Marvel Comics. Now, he's not top 5, but he is top 10. But either way, right now, we see him breaking into this shield station, trying to gather some information. Now, we do see that he is talking to someone, but we have no idea who he is talking to. But once he is able to gather the information, that is the moment he knows that S.H.I.E.L.D. is about to come in and try to capture him, to try to break in. And so, of course, he does go out the window to try to get away from S.H.I.E.L.D. But of course, once he gets outside the S.H.I.E.L.D. station after retrieving the data that he was trying to get, he does run into S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Avengers. Now, there is a good reason why I said S.H.I.E.L.D. Avengers, because this is only going to be one group of the Avengers that we are going to see in the next couple videos. But basically, it's now Chow have to fight against the S.H.I.E.L.D. Avengers. And you have War Machine, you have Captain Marvel, and Hawkeye. But then we learn that there is a fourth Avenger member. Now, we have no idea who this fourth person is, but apparently they are right now working alongside Maria Hill to run this operation, to bring in Chow. Now, with that being said, you do have this Avengers team struggle a tad bit with bringing in Chow. But of course, once they're able to kind of surround him and they can bring him in, you do have this fourth Avenger member come down and talk to Chow to interrogate him. Now, this is the moment we learn that Chow is part of the Illuminati. Now, that right there is very huge because remember, the Illuminati were a group of people, the smartest people in Marvel Comics, who first learned about the incursions. Now, instead of telling the rest of the superhero community, they decided to handle this problem on their own and not tell the rest of the superheroes on the planet Earth. Now, of course, Steve Rogers was part of the Illuminati, but because he was not down with killing other planets in the multiverse, you had the Illuminati wipe his mind and kick him out of the Illuminati. The problem was, though, he remembers, and so to him, he feels like with the Illuminati going around blowing up other planets, they need to be arrested for their crimes. And so Chow is part of the Illuminati. Now, all that being said, it's been 8 months since our last video, and apparently there are 2 new members to the Illuminati, Hank Pym and also Captain Britain. Now that right there is very huge. 2 very important characters for this storyline. But that is the moment we learn who is this fourth Avenger member who was working alongside with Maria Hill. It's Susan Storm. She had joined the side of Steve Rogers, and right now she is trying to help Steve Rogers hunt down her husband, Reed Richards. And so things just got very interesting. But then we jump over to New Avengers number 24. Now with this book right here, we basically pick up in Latveria, of course the home of Dr. Doom. Now with that being said, we actually see a dinner going on with Dr. Doom, his adopted son, and Namor. Now this right here is very important because you have Namor kind of judging how Dr. Doom take care of his people. Because when it comes to Namor, he is a king, the king of Atlantis. And when it comes to Dr. Doom, he is the ruler of Latveria. But when it comes to Namor kind of questioning Dr. Doom on how he treats his people, how food gets to his people, you have Dr. Doom kind of realize that Namor is hiding something. Namor is not telling him something. And so that is the moment you have Dr. Doom say, you're here for something. You're here for something very important. And basically, you're asking for my help. And I'm wondering right now if it has to do with the Cabal. Now remember, at the end of the last video, we basically saw Namor move away from the Illuminati, and he formed his own group, which is known as the Cabal. Now remember, the Cabal is all the bad guys. What Namor did was, when Maximus the Mad, he freed Thanos, two members of the Black Order and Black Swan, and they have been going around to different Earths in the multiverse just killing planets left and right. Now, they're saying that they're doing this as a way to save the main Marvel universe, but in reality, this is the Cabal kind of going out there to have fun. They love killing. They love causing havoc. Now, with all that being said, this is Namor telling Dr. Doom that he has lost control of the Cabal, because originally it was him who formed the group, but now Thanos is the one who's running the group. And it makes sense because it's Thanos. Thanos is more powerful than Namor. And so Namor lost control of this group. And for Namor, even though he is an anti-hero, Thanos and his crew, they're dark. They're messed up. And Namor is not used to that. So we learned that it's Namor asking Dr. Doom for help to deal with the Cabal, because the Cabal is no longer under his control. Now, you do have Namor kind of beg for Dr. Doom to help out, and you know how Dr. Doom is. He's like, dude, you came to me second, not first, second, and you expect me to help you out? You even have Dr. Doom say, listen, when you went to Reed Richards and the Illuminati and try to solve the death of the multiverse by yourselves, I forgive you for that, because it's Reed Richards. He's kind of on my level. But when you sat down and formed the Cabal with all those different characters besides coming to me first, that's messed up. And now look at you, a pitiful man who formed a group and now he lost control of that group. You're nothing. And you have Dr. Doom just walk away and say, Dr. Doom is second to no one. And I love that so much because it's Dr. Doom, one of the best bad guys of all times. But then we get to see how messed up the Cabal has come. Why the Cabal actually scare Namor so much, because we actually jump over to Earth 71,202. Now, with that being said, we actually pick up with the Cabal right now torturing the X-Men in this universe. Well, actually, they're torturing Charles Xavier, because the rest of the X-Men have been wiped out except like two more characters. Now, with that being said, you do have the Cabal have Charles Xavier beg. Now, it's not him begging to live, it's him begging to die, because they love it. They love the idea of someone begging to be murdered by them. And you did have them bring out the last two characters of the X-Men to be alive. And you have Thanos kind of like, listen, I'm going to kill them or I'm going to kill you. Either way, someone's going to die. But you should go ahead and die first, and I might let them live. But of course we know they're not going to live. So you have Charles Xavier beg to die to hopefully save the last two members of the X-Men. And then he's dead. There goes Charles Xavier. And we all know what happened to those last two X-Men characters. But either way, it's the Cabal, just dark and cruel and evil, but they are destroying Earths across the multiverse for fun. But then we jump over to Wakanda. Now here's the problem though. Wakanda is being attacked right now by more members of the Cabal. Now with that being said, we do pick up with T'Challa and Shuri. And at this point in Marvel Comics, they both were Black Panthers. Now with that being said, you do have them right now with their war dogs trying to get to the bombs that the Illuminati made over Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers run. Because remember, you had the Illuminati make these bombs as a way, just in case, if they had to blow up other Earths to save their Earth when an incursion was about to happen. And so with that, it's Black Panther and Shuri trying to get to the bombs. But when they do, they run into Maximus the Mad. Now, Maximus the Mad is not a villain that Black Panther is really worried about. The character he is worried about is Proximus Midnight, who does appear, another member of the Cabal. And so Shuri and Black Panther, and T'Challa, sorry, they both have to run away. They both have to leave because they do not stand a chance against Maximus the Mad, the army of the Cabal, and Proximus Midnight. They do not stand a chance. And so they do escape while the War Dogs stay behind to give their king and their queen, or king and princess, I have no idea here, to get away. And so they do get away. But this moment right here is very important, because we see T'Challa call up Reed Richards and saying, listen, I need to teleport over you and I'm coming in hot. Now, with that being said, for the Illuminati who are right now on the run from S.H.I.E.L.D. and the rest of the Avengers, teleporting is a bad thing. And the reason why, because as soon as they do it, S.H.I.E.L.D. is able to locate where the teleport stuff happened at. And so it's Reed kind of like, okay, T'Challa, if you need to teleport, we need to pack up and move, because as soon as you get here, S.H.I.E.L.D. will be on us in a matter of minutes. So we have to get ready. Now, you would think Shuri would go with her brother as well, but Shuri is not gonna go. She wants to stay here in Wakanda, die in Wakanda, die fighting for Wakanda. Now, this moment right here actually does get paid off in our videos we did for Black Panther called A Nation Under Our Feet. Because remember, in that storyline right there, the people did not like T'Challa really the whole royal family. But you had some people actually love Shuri more because this moment right here, because she stayed behind to fight against the Cabal. But you do have Shuri hand T'Challa a knife. Now this knife is going to be very important, but either way, it's her saying, put this knife where it belongs. And then you have T'Challa leave, and Shuri goes back out to fight against Proximus Midnight, Maximus the Mad, and the Cabal's army. Now, we do jump over to Doctor Doom, and this is Doctor Doom making his moves. And what I mean by that is we actually pick up with Doctor Doom right now talking to the Thinker. Now, this is Johnathan Hickman paying off his run. Like, man, this is great. Because remember, back at the very beginning of Johnathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers, when the Illuminati first learned about the map makers, and remember, the map makers are a group of robots who map the multiverse. But what they do is that they travel the multiverse by using dead Earths, as these dead Earths are about to be involved in an incursion. So for example, if they're on a dead Earth right now and that dead Earth is about to be an incursion, then they will use that dead Earth as a way to travel over to the new, fresh, alive Earth and do the same process all over again. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up, because when the Illuminati first learned about the map makers as they were traveling with a dead Earth in an incursion point, that incursion point happened in Latveria, but the Illuminati left thinking that Doctor Doom did not see anything, but he did. And a piece of that dead Earth fell in Latveria. And so you had Doctor Doom hire the Thinker, a great inventor, to kind of study this dead planet Earth piece. And with him doing that, he was able to figure out how the multiverse is mapped out. But that is not Doctor Doom's big plan. What is Doctor Doom's big plan is right now, he is holding the Molecule Man. And I really just butchered that because I'm sick. But either way, the Molecule Man is a very powerful character. He can warp reality. And oh my gosh, things are about to pop off in later videos. So this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please hit that like button down below and subscribe. But I'll see y'all next time. Later.